Jean from Happy Indulgence, and today I'm going to be going through the books that I read for Superheroathon. So this was a readathon that was held over the past 2 weeks, hosted by Bex and Grace, whose channels I'll leave down below. But I think I did pretty well with this readathon, considering it was only 2 weeks and I had a super ambitious TBR. I think I ticked off most of the challenges, which is pretty good. So the first challenge was Iron Man, read an oldie but a goodie, and I read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and this was a buddy read with Ellie at Fanatical Fantasy. Gosh guys, this was actually a reread for me. I read this about 2 or 3 years ago, and I absolutely remembered nothing about it. But upon my reread, I came to appreciate the dark world that has been created by V.E. Schwab. I loved Cal, I love Lila, they're super unique characters, and I just love like the whole concept of the different London. There's a black London, a grey London, a white London, and red London. It was just super fascinating. And I ended up giving this around 4.5 stars, I think. There were some things that I think were completely blatant and repetitive, like, you know, Lila Barr, she's a girl that cross-dresses as a guy and she wants to be a pirate, but that was said over and over again. She wants a venture, she wants a pirate ship, she wants a venture, she wants a pirate ship. I also loved Cal and how he's an Antari and how he's like a bit of a magician as well, but it was just such a really great read. And like throughout the novel, Cal's always like, stay back Lila, let me handle this, and she wouldn't let him do it. So like it was just really like a lot of fun, and I think we'll be continuing the series as well because I love this book so much. The next challenge was Captain America, a book that represents your country, and I had planned on reading a Love Oswaya book, which was Small Spaces, but I didn't get the chance to read that for this readathon. The next one was Captain Marvel, new release that captures your attention, and that one I read Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman. This was a really fun middle grade book that I read really quickly. Obviously it's got bigger writing in it as well. It's a bit of a shorter book. It was a really fun adventure based around ice wolves and scorched dragons and shapeshifters. I think it was a great adventure. It had a really great Iceland setting, but yeah, like it wasn't too memorable for me. I gave it 3 stars. I have passed it on to my 13-year-old nephew though, and I'm really happy that I get to share these books with him. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to see what he thinks about it. The next book I read was Ant-Man, read a tiny book that packs a punch, and for me that was Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shona McGuire. And I mean, this was a really quirky book. It's about this girl called Cora, and she's basically a mermaid that is now on land, and the thing about her is that she's actually quite fat, and it talks about all the prejudices that people have to face as a fat person, as a disabled person, and that was like really healthy to address in this book as well. It's also about a girl called Reenie who is looking for her dead mother, and they travel to a nonsense world called the Confection, and in Confection everything is made of candy, of donuts, of biscuits, and you can think about, you know, for Cora, how she had all these preconceptions about her, but she's actually quite athletic. She swims a lot. Her body shape is something that she can't control because of her metabolism, because of how she was born. And it was great to tackle those misconceptions head on, because I thought, I actually haven't read any book that tackles that type of representation, and it wasn't about a fat girl who wants to lose weight like a lot of other books are that have that sort of representation. So I really appreciated that in Beneath the Sugar Sky. This has always been a really diverse fantasy novella series. These are the other books in the series. So the first one was Every Heart a Doorway, which had fantastic queer and ace representation. Then there's Down Among the Sticks and Bones, and it was more about nature versus nurture. And then this one was a bit of a lighter book with the fat representation, disability representation, and yeah, I just love the diversity in these books. It felt a bit more random than the previous books, and I didn't like the characters as much. I ended up giving this about 2.5 stars, but I think I'll wind it up to a 3. So the next book for the challenge was Hog Smash, an intimidating book that you need to pick up, and I didn't end up picking up Iron Gold, I'm sorry, but it's a massive book. Next one was Black Panther, read a book with a person of color as the main character. So for that one, I picked up Sight Witch by Susan Dennard, and this is a novella as part of the Witchland series. The first book is Truth Witch, the second book is Wind Witch. This is set before Truth Witch. I love this book. I mean, it's a really interesting tome because it's written in a diary format, and there's maps, there's illustrations, there's diagrams, there's prayers, but amongst all of that, you get this really well-built main character called Ryba, and she's obviously a person of color. She's a sight witch, and she lives in a clan of other sight witches, and it was really interesting just seeing the rules they had built up with each other, seeing the world building for the actual Witchland series, and I just loved it. I loved her character, and I thought it was done really well in the novella format. It really adds to the rest of the series and answers a lot of questions about the sight witches and about the series itself, and it also features a main character that was in Truth Witch. So Cullen is actually in here, but he's a bit of a side character. So I love Ryba. She was such a great character. She's flawed because she obviously wants to stick to the conventions that she's learned and been brought up with in the sight witches, but she trusts her gut and her instinct to save the rest of the sight witches. So I don't want to go too much into this because it's a bit of a spoiler. I really enjoyed this one and gave it 4 stars. The Thor challenge was read a book set in a different world, and the Black Widow challenge is read a book with a kick-ass female character. Those 2 challenges I read Dracora by Lynette Noni. Alex is basically a super kick-ass character. So I mean, she has magic, she has spark, she has confidence, she has an ability when it comes to magic as well, and she's great at fighting. So I definitely think Dracora meets the Black Widow challenge. And the other one was a book set in a different world. This one was set in the world of Medora, but not only that, it was set in the past because there's a time travel scene where they time travel back, and it's also the Dracora. So there's these land masses up above the world of Medora, which are populated by dragons in the past. Oh my gosh, guys, this was such a great read. I gave it 5 stars. I love this series. It's the 3rd book and it just gets better and better. The next challenge was, what would Stan Lee do? Read a Marvel comic. Obviously, because I don't have any Marvel comics, I read Rat Queens Volume 2. This graphic novel is a really feminist fantasy read where you've got the shaman, the dwarf, the barbarian, and the magician, and together they go in and take on different quests, and they're the ones who fight the monsters. They're the ones who go into the dungeons. I read Rat Queens Volume 2. I guess it lost a lot of the spark from the main series. It was only a 3-star read for me because it jumped around so much. I mean, it tried to do too much and it was just a bit confusing to read. So the last challenge was Avengers. Read a book with squad goals. I mean, I guess you could say that Dracora was a book with squad goals, but then she didn't really have her squad, so you could count it, you couldn't count it, I don't really know. So these are the books that I ended up reading for the Superheroathon challenge. I really enjoyed picking out different books from my TBR to meet a lot of the challenge recommendations, and it was just a great way to tackle some older reads on my TBR and some newer reads as well. So I really enjoyed it, and thanks guys for hosting. That's all I have for this video, guys, and if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Link me down below to your wrap-ups from the Superheroathon as well, and let me know what you think in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.